Hi everyone, I'm Alex Harry. I'm the Assistant Director for Campus Facilities and Sustainability Initiatives. And today is Wednesday Wisdom. Today's topic is going to focus on campus waste. So it's a bit of a presentation on kind of recycling 101, how is waste handled at the university, and just how to be more mindful about our recycling options on campus or around campus. So today I'm joined with Carrie Love from WB Waste. Her company actually helps handle the waste management aspect on campus. So I'll let Carrie introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be invited to this Wednesday Wisdom. If you have any questions or anything, please let me know. I'm always here to help.
Thank you. So for the first part of today's talk, I just wanted to give an overview of the status of recycling on campus. If you take a look around campus, there's recycling bins at people's desks, in your dorms, in common areas such as in the hallways or at the PRIS. There's a recycling bin and a landfill bin in most places on campus. Recycling, if you haven't seen, we have posters all around campus just outlining the general protocols of what is recyclable and what's not. So it might be a little bit different from what you're used to at your, back at home, or, when you leave work, or if you're from out of this country. Um, Recycling is handled a little bit differently at Catholic University. Um, there's some things that are recyclable that are not recyclable in other places. So, for instance, plastic bottles are recyclable at Catholic. Yogurt cups, Tupperware, cutlery, um, all those plastic items are recyclable. Paper, cardboard, metal, so like soda cans, that's recyclable, and aluminum. Carrie, did I miss anything, or is that?
I think so. I think you covered most of the areas that are recyclable. The
Yeah.
thing I will add to that is if you have the yogurt cups and the plastic bottles, for those to be recyclable, they have to be clean. So you would need to wash them out or at least keep them out in some way, shape, or form. They still go to the recycling facility, the MRF
Mm-hmm.
recycling facility. But if they're dirty with food, more than likely they'll be bundled and taken to the waste to energy plant because we can't send them to a recycle.
Okay. And then that brings me to the landfill section. So anything that's waxed backed paper. So a lot of those, like milk cartons, for example, if you open them up, a lot of times they have a wax coating on them. Um, to be sent to the landfill. Glass is something that's more recent change in recycling. It used to be recyclable, but now it is no longer recyclable. Styrofoam um, is another item that is no longer recyclable. Landscaping waste at Catholic, I should actually change that. Landscaping waste should be sent to the compost area on campus, and that's on the West Campus. Then toxic and hazardous materials, they also shouldn't be sent to the landfill, but should be handled according to your local jurisdiction. Plastic bags is another big thing where people think it is recyclable, but it is not, and it should go into the landfill. As far as recently recycling innovations that we have on campus, if you walk around on the exterior of campus around the PRIS or at Dufour, there are these big belly trash cans. So they're actually solar power compactors that send like a real-time alert back to the facility staff that basically alerts us to notifying us that the trash cans are full. So they actually, the good thing about them is that they hold way more trash than a standard recycling or landfill bin. So it kind of helps manage the overflow of waste, and it keeps out pests who may be attracted to what's in the trash. Another question that I've been investigating recently is COVID-19's impact on recycling. So the first graph here, you'll see the recycling diversion rate. And so for the last year to date, so meaning from January to the end of September, our diversion rate really hasn't changed. It's been about 29 to 28% in 2018, 2019, and 2020, despite the fact that there's been a change in population of who's on campus and who's not. But I think the more interesting metric that I've seen recently is just the reduction of what's been sent to the landfill. So in 2018, we had really high volumes of just trash, waste sent to the landfill. Waste actually decreased in 2018 all the way down to 2020 by almost 50%, which is a really good thing. But again, a lot of that is due to the change in population on campus. So I'm curious to see, once the pandemic is over, will we keep the same levels of landfill waste, especially as more and more people come back to campus and we have a more normal operations? So that's just kind of a snapshot of what's going on and what's the COVID-19 impact on recycling. And so next, I think one of the bigger questions that I get a lot is just about how does the university handle waste? And so that's why one of the reasons I brought Carrie to talk about what's that transition like between what's at the university to how is it leaving the university? What does that waste kind of sequence look like? So I just started at, when individuals were to place waste into a proper bin. So if there's, if you're in your dorm, you should have a recycling area, usually in a central location on the first floor. And there's a room, part of the room is labeled landfill, the other part is labeled recycling. There's posters that again explain, what's recyclable and what's not. And so that's the first step as we as individuals can take, is really making sure that we're placing the waste into the proper bin. And so from there, that's when my department takes over. So the facilities administration and services department, they're in the larger facilities division, which is in the power plant, which is next to the law school. So the custodial staff from that department, they separate the waste from the bins. So this is one of the things that you might see around campus, is that it looks like everything is in a trash bag. There's black bags, and then sometimes there's blue or clear trash bags. And so the blue or the clear trash bags, that's what actually holds the recycling. And the black bags are what to go to the landfill. So they go to every building and collect all of the bags on campus, and they haul it to the grounds facilities dumpster area, which is, it's behind O'Boyle. So there's like a solar array that you'll see here in the Google map. And then in the back corner, that's where the trash compactors are. So there's one for, Carrie, how many compactors are back there?
You have 3 back there. You have one for trash, one for mixed recycling, and one for cardboard.
Great. And so
there's also an open top for metal and an open top for wood, or C&D.
Great.
So
this is kind of where the transition is between, how waste is collected at the university and then where WB takes over. So Carrie, I'll let you talk about the next 2 squares.
Okay. All right. So waste compactors, they're at the grounds once a week, and at the Verizon building once a week, every Friday. All of the trash, the MSW, is taken to our transfer station in Northeast DC, which is Federal IPC. it is sorted on site there for its commodity. So for instance, let's say somebody put some cardboard in that can by accident, which it happens all the time. They will sort that out, and even the CND can, the open top can, they sort everything there, and if it can be recycled, they will recycle it. If it's strictly MSW, it will either go to the landfill or to Covanta, which is waste to energy. All of the wood stuff up at West Campus, where all of your landfill stuff is taken, that is also dumped at Federal IPC, but we then in turn send that down to our CND landfill in Virginia, and it is turned into mulch. There's a mulching facility on that site, and we send everything over there, all of the wood, all of the yard waste, all that goes over there, and they put that into mulch. For your recycling, the cardboard and the mixed recycling is taken to our material recycling facility, which is in Capitol Heights, right over the DC line on Olive Street. And it is dumped on the floor, it is sorted, it gets put into a conveyor belt, and there's people on that conveyor belt that sort everything. They have a hole for cardboard, a hole for metal, and a hole for paper. Everything else is, those are the commodities that are worth money that we can sell. It is inspected multiple times. Even the people that we sell to, where we used to, and recycling has taken a big turn in the last year and a half, where we used to just bale cardboard and put it on a big tractor trailer and take it up to Baltimore to the port. We can't just do that anymore. They send the buyers down to us, and after we bale these massive bales, they burst them open and check for contamination. They allow 0.05% contamination. If
Wow.
it's anything from that, they won't take it. And it's even happened where they said, okay, they'll take it. We put it on the boat, we send it to China, and they reject it there. So then we got to pay to bring it back and then do something with it here. So it's a much more bigger picture of what happens with that, with the contamination rate and what people want to buy from us right now. For all the recyclables, like the paper and the metal goes to a metal recycler at Joseph Smith, which is in Capitol Heights. Excuse me. And the paper goes to the paper pulp facility that we use. And I apologize, I do not know the name of that facility. All of the other recycling that we cannot sell off is put into bales, and we take it over to Covanta, and we do waste to energy. So where we might not be selling it to be recycled, it's going to waste to energy and being recycled that way. Now the university is starting at the beginning of the year composting at the Pariza building. All of that will be going to MES, which is located in Upper Marlboro. It is the only compost facility in, I guess, the tri-state area that accepts it. So they kind of have a ownership on the monopoly there. And they're very, very, very strict about that. They don't allow for much contamination. They'll give you a warning. They'll give you another warning, and then you're kicked out. And I don't want to just say that your facility will be kicked out. We will be banned. They don't have much leeway. They're very strict about that. So, and I've already had meetings with Alex and Karen and everyone else at the university just going over that. It's very important to follow the rules and make sure what you're recycling or what you're putting into compost is compost. Once all those things are done, we try to divert as much as possible from the landfill. Like I was saying, it's sorted at our transfer stations. We have two. We have one in Hyattsville and one in DC. So everything is sorted there, and then it's sorted again once it goes to our C&D landfill if it is recyclable. Or if anybody puts something in the trash that shouldn't go into the landfill, we're doing our part in sorting it out to try to recycle everything we can. It's part of our process. It's part of our protocol that we have to do. We're mandated to do that. So the end result is that we have more going to a C&D landfill and getting recycled and to the MRF or to waste to energy than we do going into the landfill. So that is what we strive to do most, to recycle and not throw away and pollute the earth, I guess you could say. So.
Thanks, Carrie. And so some of the other questions that I've gotten from time to time is questions about where can I take particular items. So some people come to me or to facilities about, where can they take batteries or thermometers or paint. So there's a department called the Environmental Health, Safety, and Risk Management Department, and they handle proper disposal according to what's required by the DC government. Food waste, as Carrie mentioned, we're trying to bring back composting, and as you heard, it is very strict. So there will be a lot of education around what's compostable and how that works in the next couple of weeks, actually, because we're looking to have it up and running in January. So it'll first start at the PRIS, kind of at the back of house with dining services staff, and then it'll migrate to the rest of the PRIS. So, if you're in the great room or you're walking around the hallway, you'll have access to composting as well. Until then, if you really want to, collect your food waste and figure out what to do about it, the DC government has a program called DC Zero Waste, and they have a pop-up food waste drop-off at the Brooklyn Farmers Market. So it's kind of like that art walk alley over there. So on Saturdays, you can drop off your food waste there. And then if you have old electronics that you're looking to get rid of, computers, printers, monitors, mice, keyboards, etc., tech services would be able to point you to what you can do with that. They might accept it, or they might tell you to take it to a thrift store or to the transfer station. So Carrie mentioned we have a transfer station or kind of like a area where the city collects different wastes. So I believe on Saturdays, they will accept your waste if you just walk it or drive it over to the transfer station, and it's literally right next to Dufour on the other side of Dufour, down John McCormick. And then clothing, a lot of you all probably have clothes that you're not wearing anymore. Clothing drop boxes have been a thing recently. And then you can also always donate those items to a thrift store. So this next section is kind of where I'm going to lean on Carrie's knowledge about the recycling market and just kind of what goes on once waste leaves the university and it's
I apologize, everyone. The train goes by every 10 minutes. I do apologize.
Oh, no worries. So I think one of the as I mentioned before with the black plastic bags versus the clear plastic bags, I think one of the questions that I always hear around campus is when people see just outside the window, they see there's a whole bunch of black plastic bags and clear or blue plastic bags, they feel discouraged from continuing to recycle. They feel like, okay, I see the things that I put in the recycling bin, but everything is bagged up and it looks like it's just going into the trash. Carrie, could you explain more about kind of the allowances of, how black plastic bags are handled in that very particular situation with the university and WB Waste?
Okay. So black plastic bags are used for trash only. They are not recycled. They only put your MSW trash in black plastic bags. We went into our agreement with the university. No one really takes plastic bags anymore or recyclables in plastic bags because they aren't recycled. and they mess up the machines at the recycling facilities. And that was one of the concerns for the university. So we have told the university that if they put all the recyclables in a blue plastic bag, we will accept them. We burst those bags open at the transfer station or the recycling facility, and then it goes onto a conveyor belt. So we manually do that, and we have allowed that. Those plastic bags are then bundled with the other bundled stuff that we can't sell off and taken to the waste to energy facility. So all recycling has to be in the blue plastic bags, and that's how it comes in. If we get the recycling compactor into the facility and there's a bunch of black bags in there, then they send me a picture. I have to let you know, I alert the university that, hey, they rejected this load because of the black plastic bags. You don't want to put the black in with the recycling at all. They consider that contamination, and 3 bags will constitute the entire load as being trashed, and then we have to reload it and take it to the to the transfer station to be disposed of appropriately. They're pretty strict on us about the contamination, only because it is a manual operation, and I don't think a lot of people realize that we actually have people that we hire, like 20 or 30 people that we hire, that stand up on these conveyor belts up on a lift and sort through all of the recycling. They sort through everything that comes in there. So, and that's a big job. I mean, and it's not the best job on earth, but it's a job. It's cold, it's hot, it's smelly. So we try to minimize the exposure to those people, and also what comes in plastic bags. As you can imagine, some people put things in plastic bags that you shouldn't put in plastic bags and just throw them out, and they might get into the recycling somehow. So we just like to be very cautious on that end. But as far as plastic bags go, if we do get them in the facility, we do repurpose them into another waste stream and take it to Covanta, which is the waste to energy facility. So they are being disposed of in a proper way and not going to the landfill as much as we can help
it. Okay. So to clarify though, we shouldn't be putting plastic bags into the recycling bin. It's just the plastic bags that facilities uses is really just to group the waste together in order to haul it to the grounds facility.
Correct. I mean, you all are allowed to use the blue plastic bags. We have our agreement. We do allow that for the university, but for recycling only in there, nothing else. And that's how we have identified it as recycling for you all. It's a blue plastic bag versus a clear one or a black one. Black is trash.
Mm-hmm. And then to the next question, do you need to clean the recyclables before you put it into the recycling bin?
Yes, if they have food waste on them, yes, clean them.
Okay. Does it have to be spotless, or can it like?
It doesn't have to be spotless, but for the most part, I would rinse your yogurt cup out.
Okay.
If you haven't, let's say you have a plastic oil container that you use, like the canola oil or whatever. If it's empty, just rinse it out into the recycling. Don't just throw it in there with a little bit of oil on the bottom of it. You just swish it around and rinse it out.
Okay. And then I've seen this other one come up from time to time, but if people aren't sure of where to throw their waste, so they figure like, I'm not sure if this is wax packed, should I just toss it into the recycling bin anyway? Or kind of like, what's your opinion on that?
If you're unsure, and Alex, you've done an incredible job with putting signage up and getting that message out. If you aren't sure if it's recyclable or not, throw it in the trash. Okay. If it's recyclable and we get it at the transfer station, we'll sort it out. If it's cardboard and it doesn't have the wax on it, you aren't sure, they will sort it out. They sort out all the cardboard and stuff. So
okay.
Rule of thumb is metal, paper, cardboard. As long as cardboard doesn't have wax on it, it's recyclable.
Okay. And I think we talked about what happens to waste once it leaves the university. Um, and then we talked a little bit about the rate of which the trash is contaminated. So I guess to some people they might feel like discouraged that there's so many rules and so many opportunities for things to get thrown out. You know, like this is too contaminated, so now it's all going to the landfill. So some people feel like they shouldn't recycle anyway. Like, what would you say to encourage people to continue to recycle?
Well, I will tell you, I do this rule of thumb because I do it at home. You know, we have a bin for our metal, a bin for our plastics, a place for cardboard and metal and stuff like that. So if it's plastic, I rinse it out and put it in our recycling bin. If it's metal, I rinse it out and put it in our recycling bin. Glass at the moment is trash, but we still rinse it out and try to use it in different ways, or we take it to the transfer station and they have a place for glass down by Lily Powder, but I know that nobody recycles it at the moment. I know that in the bigger world than we are, there are some places that are trying to, you know, look at different avenues to recycle glass. But at the moment, there just aren't facilities that take it. But I always give a rule of thumb, you know what, if I can recycle it, or I know if I clean it out, at least I'm doing my part. So if you can do it, just do it. Don't change your habits at all. If it's dirty with food in it, rinse it out. If it's plastic, put it in the recycling. Because if it's clean, go recycle it. It will get recycled. So it's better not to change your habits, to keep doing what you were doing, rinse it out, put it in the recycling, put your paper in there, your cardboard, all of that, because they will be recycled. It will be sorted. So.
And then I guess like you talked about glass, but why do the recycling protocols keep changing? It seems like they're the list of what's able to be recycled gets smaller and smaller as the years go by. Like, do you know why that is?
There just aren't facilities that can get it recycled correctly and be profitable. For instance, the only glass recycling place that I know of is in California.
Oh,
We aren't going to ship from Maryland to California. It's not cost prohibitive. Personally, my question about that is glass and sand. Why can't we crunch it up and use it in some way? And I know the asphalt companies do use it in the asphalt in some way, but there's just nobody who collects it at the moment to get it recycled that way. There's just aren't facilities who want it or who want to take it. So it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's you don't have the avenue to recycle it because there just aren't any companies to do it, to take it in the area on the East Coast. So, and they change every day. I mean, some bigger waste companies are charging outrageous amounts if it's contaminated. If you have one black bag in the can, they say it's all trash, and they're charging outrageous rates for it. We're trying to do our part and keep those rates as low as we can at WB, and we are growing, so we're just trying harder to keep things in a changing world that changes every day, to keep them going how they were, so that people don't change their methods of doing things. It's always, and this is what I think, it's always easy once you have somebody trained to keep doing the same thing, but once you change it, then nobody's going to do it. So a lot of companies are tell everybody, just keep doing what you're doing. That way, if it comes back, it will still be done. But I mean, there's a waste expo every year. Unfortunately, this year we didn't have it because of COVID. We go every year. It's usually at the end of April or May, and you learn so much about it. And nobody's really recycling a lot of stuff, and it's sad. It really is sad. Like I said, the three main things that are recycled are cardboard, metal, and paper. So,
No, that's good advice. I mean, I think cardboard, metal, and paper, and just to recycle anyway, um, and not to get discouraged is good advice. And focusing on those three things is what makes the most sense. Um,
and everybody has to change their habits too. And like you and I have talked before, I use a reusable Yeti cup every day. I don't use plastic cups. I don't use plastic straws. I buy the reusable straws and clean them. I try to do my part to not be using things that are going to be thrown in the trash. I take my reusable bags to the grocery store. I don't get the plastic bags at the grocery store. And it's part of thinking outside the box about what you can do to stop,
mhm.
stop things from being thrown away.
Right. So I guess like who is accepting the bulk of the waste now? I mean, we hear a lot about China not taking glass anymore, and that's why glass isn't accepted anymore. Is like who's still like the biggest buyer of recyclables?
Well, we resell our cardboard that we can to China. They do take some things, but not all of it. Um, uh, there are a couple other countries that take it from us, and there are places in the U.S. that take it. Metal is taken in the U.S. Paper is taken in the U.S. Cardboard, we still send a little bit to China. They're just very strict about it. They don't want to buy much from us. We send stuff to, what's the other big country we've been sending to lately? Like Norway or something like that. They're really, really, really into recycling there. They're incredible with what they do. There are other small places that do take some from us, but they have other avenues where people in the U.S. are now taking the cardboard from us. So we try to sell it off. Most of the time, the cost to sell it off outweighs it usually costs more to process it and sell it. We might get $10 a ton. As you can imagine, it's going to take a whole lot more than $10 to sort it and bale it and get it out.
Mm-hmm.
We try to find the most profitable way to do that and find the people closer to home. It's easier to send it someplace closer to home than it is to China right now.
Right. No, that makes sense, and especially from like an emissions point of view, like putting it on a boat or on a plane.
Right.
Yeah. Doesn't make a lot of sense either. Um, were there questions, Holly or Daniel? Did you guys have questions for Carrie about how recycling's handled or industry questions? No. Okay. Um, well, thank you, Carrie,
Thank
for all the great questions um, that we had submitted, and thank you for being able to provide a lot of insight into, um, you know, what it looks like. What does that transition look like from what's going on campus to how your facility sorts it? I think it was really helpful, and I think this recording will be helpful to people who have questions about that. So just to give everybody like a overview of what's next, if you want to get involved with recycling on campus, in January into February, there's going to be the campus race to zero waste. So it used to be called Recycle Mania, and it is a competition to see which university can recycle the most. So there'll be a lot more promotion around this probably in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be an initiative with SGA, I believe. So I'm really excited about this promotion. Uh, it'll pair nicely with composting. So as we mentioned before, composting is expected to come back at the university in January. It'll be an option first back of house at the Priz. So at the eatery, uh, dining services will start sorting their waste from landfill recycling and then food waste. And then the other part of it is kind of the front of house, so how people are coming into the great rooms or the hallways. So SGA, I believe, is going to help work on this initiative about educating students on how to properly compost. So Carrie, I might be reaching out to you again about ideas or concepts that we can do around getting folks to learn about composting and be more educated about the differences of what's recycling, what's compost, and what's landfill. So I put together a QR code, so that's part of the promotional items that'll be released in the next couple of weeks. So um, spring semester looks like some exciting things are happening with sustainability and how we handle waste on campus. And then I just wanted to highlight what's happening next week. There's going to be another Wednesday Wisdom edition with Holly Thompson. She's on the call right now. And it will be kind of just a casual Q&A conversation about the different groups that she's involved with. She's involved with SGA and the Environmental Club, and just kind of talking about how she lives sustainably every day and her experiences with finding green internships and those experiences that she's found. And then just to recap, if you guys want to learn more about what's going on, you can follow on social media, sign up for the newsletter. The events are posted on the Nest, and then if you want to learn more about how to recycle or what is recycled, or you have questions, you could always email me, but a lot of things are also found on the sustainability website. So that's all I had for today. But if there are any other questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask.
I did want to say one thing, Alex. That offer is still out there. We had talked about this before, and how they might enjoy this, to go to the MES down in Upper Marlboro to the compost facility. It's a very, very, very interesting place to go and learn about composting and what they do with it, and how it's recycled and all of that. So that offer is still out there. If anybody ever would want to do that, I'd gladly meet everybody there and go on the floor again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be something. It might need a little coordination, but Holly, I think we could talk more about, if there's students that would be interested in visiting the composting facility.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm thinking this semester is definitely like too late to do anything like that, but definitely the beginning of next semester.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming to join the Wednesday Wisdom edition. Have a great rest of your Wednesday.
Thank you. You too, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.